Whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire with chops. Whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire with chops. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Whiskey by the Fire with Chops. Cheers, got my whiskey, got my fireplace. How's everybody out there doing? I'm into week number 2 of recuperating from 4 broken ribs, so I've been trying to take it easy and go light on a lot of things, but feeling better, definitely feeling better. It's a pretty decent show lined up for you today. Actually, we've got a couple of musical clips, a very, very funny comedy clip from the late, great Brendan Grace, who actually, I thought it was a couple of years ago that he passed, but it was only just about a year ago that he passed away from cancer. He was a very, very funny man, you know, probably one of the top Irish comedians, that I've ever encountered, and quite a good singer as well. Actually, he had hits with Combine Harvester, and then he also charted a very beautiful version of The Dutchman, which is it's a lovely song. It's a little depressing, but at the same time brings a happy tear to your eye. It's a lovely song. Liam Clint did an amazing version of the song. So if you check that out sometime, go to YouTube and just look at The Dutchman. You'll find many different beautiful versions of the song. I'm going to start out with something that this kind of it strikes a chord with me personally because I'm now, of course, now divorced, but I was married to a black woman. We were together for 10 years, and it was 10 wonderful years. And just sometimes things don't work out, but all in all, I hope she's doing well in her endeavors, and I'm just trying to get by and do my own thing. There were people who would come up to me and say, wow, your wife, girlfriend, fiance, they'd say, she's quite attractive. She's very, she's very good looking, and she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, most beautiful woman in the world. But sometimes they kind of paraphrase it, and I actually heard this from a few people, and they think it's okay for them to kind of paraphrase and say it like this, where they're like, oh, she's quite good looking, for a black girl, and I'm just like, no. That happened at least 2 or 3 times where somebody was trying to give a kind of an open-ended compliment, and it just came out as very casually racist. And it just, she's quite attractive for a black girl. Well, and one time actually, somebody was talking about her sister, her sister is quite attractive as well. And they said, she's very good looking, but for a black girl, and it just that kind of. It struck a really bad chord with me because it's not for a black girl. She was beautiful because she was beautiful. That was it. That was just it. I don't give a crap about color. I think people in general of all walks of life, all shapes, colors, are just could be beautiful, men and women, and everything in between. There's lots of my friends, male friends, who I would say, yes, they're beautiful people, but it's because they're beautiful inside and out. I'm not looking at them specifically for an outward appearance. Same thing with I see myself fading in and out here. It's a price of technology here, but so yeah, it leads me to. This is a video clip that went viral a few months ago about a little girl whose parents are very supportive of her. Her family is very, very supportive of her like that. But somebody at her school or something must have said something to her to make her feel like she was less than beautiful, to make her feel that she was ugly. Um, this is a sweet 4-year-old girl named Ariana, uh, and the video itself, it's heartbreaking. Like the first time I watched it, I remember just like I just breaking down in tears because I was just like, this is this little girl who's just, she feels so destroyed. Um, and but the upside to it is the woman who is a family friend who was doing her hair at the time uh, quickly nipped it in the bud and said, no, you're not going to think this way. You're pretty, you're beautiful, you're black, you're beautiful, and don't anybody ever tell you anything different. And I'm gonna get a little emotional talking about it here and now because it's this is very hard hitting, um, and I guarantee you'll take a watch of this clip, and if you don't feel some sort of emotion, you're dead. You got to be dead inside because. But the good news is the girl is now instilled with some confidence thanks to a family friend who was doing her hair. Um, Celebrities who've reached out to her to let her know that she indeed is a beautiful young lady, Michelle Obama being one of them. And just, but I please take a look at the clip here. And if like I said, if you don't get emotional, you've got to be dead inside.
Viral clip of the week.
I'm so ugly. What?
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You are so pretty. When you look at yourself, you supposed to say, I'm so pretty. You are so pretty. Do you hear me? You got the prettiest little dimples. You are too cute. Oh. No, you gonna make me cry. You're not ugly. Oh, you are so pretty. You are like, you have this beautiful chocolate skin. Like, you are just so gorgeous. You got these dimples. You are beautiful. Black is beautiful. And if don't nobody ever tell you, I will tell you, you are gorgeous. You are so pretty. And you're going to grow up and you're going to be everything that you can be. Have a hug. I love you.
Long black hair, twisted style. I am beautiful, I am beautiful.
I'm black and beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I'm black and beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, that get one gets me every time. But it's nice to see that she's got supportive people around her. In an interview with her mother and her friend, who's the hairdresser, who's also a very popular rap artist in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So she uses that platform with her music and rapping to uplift other people. Like that, she's a very positive person. So I'm actually looking to seek out some of her music now because I'd love to support her because just the small act of kindness that she showed the 4-year-old girl who's not even her own child. This is just the child of a friend of hers, and but just to kind of turn that around. So, but it's for. To pardon the pun, for as much ugliness in the world that there is like that, there's a lot of beauty, and for somebody to put that on a 4-year-old child that they're ugly, somebody had to have told her that, even if it was another child at school. And people say, well, kids are kids, kids are mean to each other. It's just what it is when you're growing up and everything. But if you teach your child young enough to treat others with respect, dignity, then you're not going to have viral clips like this, that get me that get me crying every single time. So with that, let's I'm going to try to bring things up a little bit here. And I mentioned earlier I have a comedy clip of Brendan Grace, brilliant singer and comedian. This is just one of his routines that I enjoy. He's got quite a few other signature, like legendary bits and skits that he's done. But definitely check him out. I was commented on saying, well, you show a lot of clips of artists and comedians and musicians and everything that are no longer with us and everything, but that's precisely one of the reasons why I will focus on them, because knowing your history of the culture, the Irish and Celtic culture is so rich in the history and the folklore, music, and just there's so much. It's more than just Irish Spring and Lucky Charms cereal and the Dropkick Murphys, which that's it goes beyond all that plastic patty stuff, so here's a clip of Brendan Grace at his finest.
Comedian of the Week.
My granny was someone that I particularly loved. I think everybody loved their granny. Everybody who's a granny, if your granny is living, you love her. If she's gone, you miss her. And that's the way it was over the years with me. My grandmother in her own, and I can remember certain things about her. There were certain, and God bless us all, didn't I think she had twisted legs? I actually thought her legs were twisted. And it was only afterwards when my mother explained, it was her stockings, it was her nylons that used to twist. And another thing I remembered about my grandmother, she had a certain medical, well, it wasn't a medical disposition, it was a kind of an internal kind of a disturbance, if you're with me so far. Kind of a meteorological situation. And she used to blow off never so often. That's what we used to say years ago, blow off. And it was very subtle, and it was, that's all. When you'd least expect it. That's all. A simple little, like anybody, there's no point in pretending you just are upset. We all do it. If you didn't, you'd burst. No, I'm just telling you. That's why you should be laughing out as much as you can. She used to pull up her nylons in the morning. She was very old-fashioned. She didn't use garters. My mother explained that she thought garters were vulgar and suspenders were things of the devil. So what she'd do in the morning is she'd pull up her stockings like that. And she'd tie a knot there. Did anybody ever do that, did you? A knot. And the same with this side, like that. And then for the first part of the day, they'd be perfectly straight. But as the day wore on, they'd slacken off. And they'd twist. And that's how I used to think her legs were twisted. And then tights came in. And she didn't understand tights. She couldn't come to terms with this new thing, instead of nylon stockings, tights. She couldn't understand both legs going into the same opening, you see. So what she used to do was, when she'd get the tights, she'd cut the legs off. She'd throw away the middle piece, and she'd pull them up the same as nylons. And then they eventually got the scissors off her. And she eventually then got used to wearing them as full tights. But she was old-fashioned. She did the same with them as she did with the stockings. She pulled them up that far. And the same on that side. That's as far up as she'd get them. Now, if you can imagine now, there's now a kind of like a kangaroo's pouch across her hair. Are you with me? Like that. And it ruined her walking. She ended up walking that way. That's the way she walked. Because of the, see, if she put her leg too far forward, the elastic would drive the leg backwards. And she'd be taking one step back for every step forward. going nowhere. That was my granny. She had a sudden death, tragically, but I know she's in heaven. She was sitting down, we were at a wedding one, a round table, family wedding. All the tables spread out around the hotel. My Uncle Tommy was sitting right opposite her. Bald as a coot. Now, don't get any balder than my Uncle Tommy. Sitting across from her. She's sitting over here. And she's sitting there with the gear on her, you see. And my Uncle Tommy was smoking the pipe and dropped it. He now gets down on the floor to look for the pipe. And he proceeded in under the table. And whatever way the light was shining, she saw the reflection of his baldy head. Didn't she think her knee had come out through the stocking? And she gets her dress and pulls it down over his head. Right over his head. He's plunged into darkness. Now he thinks the lights in the hotel have fused. And he goes for his lighter. Now everything would have been fine. Everything would have been fine except for her timing. Because at the same moment that he flicked the lighter, she let go. She let go a haymaker. Now, I could only describe this in slow motion. If you could imagine the lighter coming out of the pocket and coming up like, and it was kind of, blew her away. We never saw her since.
Very, very funny bit from Brendan Grace. And yeah, it was sad. He wasn't that old actually when he passed either. It was just in his late 60s. So, yeah, he's very, very funny. Definitely something. Go to YouTube. YouTube is a wellspring of just finding so much great music and comedy and just how-to videos on anything. You know, I remember buying this weird Japanese soda from one of the Asian markets in New Haven, and it had this weird kind of like marble kind of thing at the top, and there was some kind of way they gave instructions on how to open the bottle, and we couldn't figure out how to open this bottle to get the soda out of the bottle, and actually had to go to YouTube and find a tutorial on how to open this particular brand of soda bottle. And it turned out it wasn't that difficult, but the instructions really weren't very clear on the bottle, and the soda wasn't even that good to be, you know, novelty kind of thing, you know. I've got a few musical clips I'm going to play. One is more of a kind of a classic. It's Tommy Peoples on the fiddle with Liam O'Flynn on the pipes. Liam O'Flynn is just when I was living out in Indiana, I was turned on to him by his specific solo stuff. Because I listened to him when he played with Planksty and Christy Moore, but his solo stuff, The Piper's Call, was a brilliant album. It's like a must-have if you really enjoy pipe music, and like lots of really, really great tunes on it. Really great renditions of tunes that you've probably heard before, but does them in his own style. So this is a very much older clip of Liam O'Flynn with Tommy Peoples accompanying on fiddle. Please enjoy. brilliant stuff from Liam O'Flynn, who passed away last year, and then Tommy Peoples, Donegal fiddler, very famous for playing with the Bothy Band, and then many solo albums. You know, played with Matt Malloy for a while as well. He actually passed two years ago. He passed away, but keeping that Donegal fiddle tradition alive, you know. Like I said, I had a couple video clips that I wanted to play. This next one here it's more of a modern band. I'd say modern only because the song itself is a few years old. It was a viral hit for these guys. They're an Australian group with ties to Celtic music and punk and whatnot. Group called the Rumjacks. I kind of had a smattering of some of their stuff and just thought, okay, well they're relatively decent and everything. And then recently they parted ways with their lead singer, who had some trouble with the law, rightfully so. So they really wanted to kind of distance themselves from him. But he also had issues with people in the band as well, so it was creating a lot of strife and everything. So they got a new singer, and it's actually Mike Rivkees, who's I know him here in Connecticut, and we lived in Boston. He's singing for Nicky Rickshaw, and first met him online on a message board. Remember when message boards were a thing, you know? But I kind of miss those days sometimes, you know. Introduced to a lot of different types of music and introduced to a lot of different people through message boards, you know. Yeah, so he's now Mike is going to be taking over vocal duties for the Rumjacks now, which is kind of exciting. You know, it's kind of a big deal because they're a pretty well established band and well liked around the world. They've actually relocated most of their activity to Europe, so they're not in Australia anymore. But I'm wishing Mike a lot of good luck with that endeavor. Like I said, the band is a pretty decent band. Here's to, you know, who knows, maybe the band will be even much better now, you know. Mike's a hard-working singer and a great musician to boot. So without any further ado here, here's An Irish Pub by the Rumjacks.
There's a county map to go in the wall, a hurl, a stick in the shinty bowl, the brick, the brack, the crack, and all. Let's call it an Irish pub. Every shop, Kilkenny, a pub, the Guinness, pint, the cabbage, crap, the island, one of me paddy track. We'll call it an Irish pub. While all beef folk to swear upon the holy book, the only crack you'll get is a slap in the ear. While all beef folk will often burst a filthy mug if you draw one more shot, fucking big beer. A beer, a dollar, we might can wear a shirt and colour, we'll buy a body, tri-colour and colour, an Irish pub. The Jaeger bombs and double shots, the underagers think it's toast, we'll spike the drinks and pay the cost, we got us an Irish pub. The quick one in the filthy dog, the button glass across the mug of the lady, oh the dirty dog, we got us an Irish pub. It's over to me, we'll skip along the avenue, who the hell is gonna grow? We got us an Irish pub. While all big folk to swear upon the holy book, the only crack you get is a slap in the ear. While all big folk to lock and burst your filthy mug if you drop one more shot, I'll give me beer. The bouncers, they can pick the fights, we'll call it an Irish pub. Plastic cups are polished for all, we'll the blood run out the door and let the knuckles back for more. We've got us an Irish pub. While all be fucked to swear upon the holy book, the only crack you'll get is a slap in the ear. While all be fucked to love and burst your filthy mug if you draw one more shot, I can be beer. While I'm alone, a bounce, a slant upon my home. We got us an Irish pub. It's not the punches, strip the willows, strike me up. The rakes are mellow, the lift, he never ran so shallow. We got us an Irish pub. Well, oh, big fuck, you swear upon the holy book. The only crack you get is a slap in the head. Well, oh, big fuck, the law for first, you filthy mug. If you draw one more shot, I'll keep it big.
Catchy tune. I like these guys. They're kind of growing on me a little bit. There's so many bands out there that are kind of doing the same thing, mixture of punk rock with Celtic music, Celtic infused music, and whatnot. So there's a lot of dime a dozen bands that are out there doing it, and some bands are doing it really well. Some bands are kind of half-assing it, and they're cashing in on a gimmick almost, really. Some of them, if it hadn't been for just having the Irish or the Celtic kind of theme behind it, the bands themselves would just be overlooked. I'm not going to name any specifics. I will name one specific band that I think is doing an amazing, wonderful job, and that's the Tossers from Chicago. Those guys are really great. Got a chance to open up for them last year in New Haven when the Alehounds couldn't do the gig. So myself and my buddy George from Brannigan's Corner, we opened up as a duo called Two in the Boot, and that'll be a project that you'll see more of us in the future on that. I'm thinking now that our social distancing has been working and we're doing pretty well like that, I might just do a remote recording of myself with George, doing a couple songs and like that, and featuring them on the show. But thanks for tuning in. Hit like and subscribe if you want to keep up with Whiskey by the Fire with Chops. Eventually, production will get better. I'm just getting off my lazy butt and learning how to use the technology more to my own advantage here. So I'm going to leave you with just a couple positive words and just be safe. Pandemic's not over yet. Social distance, wear your masks. When I have to go out someplace, I wear my mask. I'm slightly asthmatic and I have 4 broken ribs and I'm still wearing a mask. So if I could do it, you can do it. It's a mere inconvenience. It's not your right to infect others or to put others at risk. Just be smart, wear your mask. Be excellent to each other. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you and goodbye.
Whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire with Chops. Whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire, whiskey by the fire.